Ladies, gentlemen, folks beyond the binary, grab your husband, wife, partner, mistress. Please silence your sick blue Motorola pagers and gather around your radio. It's time for this week's meeting of the Erotic Thriller Club.
Not rude or crude, he's always tastefully nude. In this hardcore world, he's a softcore dude. His antithesis, mysterious and dangerous. And oh yes, they've got all the sexiest movies out on VHS. So if you're fatally attracted to the racier stuff, Erotic Film Club. Basically, instinctively crave the salacious. Erotic Film Club. If you want a racy movie and you're too classy for smut, Erotic Film Club. We can watch them and discuss them all ad nauseam. Erotic Film Club.
It's 2002. You're a star swimmer with a beautiful girlfriend, a great life, and a bit of a troubled past. A cute new cello player moves to town and really wants to have sex with you. You reluctantly oblige, and she ruins your life. So sit back and join us in a world where plot holes reign supreme. This week on the Erotic Thriller Club, Swimfan. Hey everybody, welcome to this week's meeting of the Erotic Thriller Club. As always, you're here with Garrett Callender and Kit Ryan.
And this is where we answer the genre's three most important questions. Was I aroused? Was I thrilled? And would I ruin my life for this person?
Before we get started today, a couple things I want to bring up. One, YouTube's been super kind to this show and been really hitting the numbers, just throwing it in the algorithm somewhere. So welcome all new members of the Erotic Thriller Club. We're happy to have you.
Welcome to
you're
the
from.
club. We love it. We love to have you. We want to shake you naked and eat you alive.
Mwah. Feel free to leave comments, questions, concerns, eroticthrillerclub@gmail.com. Hit us up at Erotic Thriller Club on Instagram. One other thing.
Mhm.
My dear co-host, Kit
Mhm.
Ryan, has gotten engaged. Congratulations.
Yay. Thank
Congratulations,
you,
sweet Kit.
Garrett. Aw, shucks. Thank you. It was very sweet. I mean, we've been together for so long now. At this point, I think people are surprised we're getting married at all. So it's been a lot of fun. And Garrett, would you like to tell them the other special piece of news?
I just got asked to be the maid of honor.
It's my boy. He's gonna be my maid of honor.
The bachelorette party and the wedding speech will both be erotic and thrilling.
Oh God, I hope so.
I've never met John's parents, but they're gonna be surprised when they hear some of this stuff.
I'm looking forward to our dress shopping montage. You know that's always fun in the movies. Have a dress shopping montage. Are you ready to sit back and be like, no, and make really exaggerated facial expressions until I find the perfect one?
We might actually have to film that for the Instagram, do a super cut. I'll show a little side boob and a little undercarriage.
There you go.
Keep the people wanting more.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's talk about Swimfan. In honor of the Olympics, we went with a swimming themed episode here.
But before we hop in to the movie itself, I had a couple questions for you.
Oh,
Because as you said, we chose a movie with an Olympic sport.
yes.
One, what is the most erotic Olympic sport?
Ooh, that's a really good one. I mean swimming definitely ranks up there because they're mostly naked.
Mhm.
And you know, it's a very graceful sort of event sometimes. But at the same time, like the facial expressions they make isn't necessarily the sexiest. It's definitely not going to be weightlifting or anything where there's a lot of grunting. That's not going to work. Uh
Weightlifting often sounds like sex. I believe that was in an Adam Sandler comedy album.
I don't think it sounds like good sex, though.
Depends on your thing. Um,
Gymnastics is definitely a fun one. It shows that they're flexible.
that
What?
puts you too much into the Crush or Poison Ivy. Them kids is young.
Oh, I suppose I hadn't thought about that.
You've
Um,
got to. What is the oldest sport? I'll. I
Wrestling,
mean, beach volleyball. Like
beach
obviously they're
volleyball,
scantily clad.
definitely scantily clad. Uh, I would say now that rock climbing is been added to the Olympics, that lets the door be open for any Killing Me Softly style sexy climbers that might want to be in here. So that's a good one.
Yeah. Okay. Well, second question:
Hmm.
what type of Olympian is most likely to fatal attraction you?
Ooh, good question. Most likely to fatal attraction me. I want to say shot put. I have no
Like,
reasoning behind that. That's just like the answer my heart came up with. Why? What is yours? Who do you think's gonna fatal attraction you?
dressage, horse girls.
I forgot dressage counted. Yeah, no, horse girls all the way. They're fucking psychopathic. We know this already. Yeah, I forgot that was an option.
More psychotic than just the horse girl in general. But
Hmm.
like this year, the American horse girls are taking their horsey to France. I'll tell you this right fucking now. No horsey wants to take that boat ride or plane ride or however the fuck you Operation Dumbo drop that horse over into France. And horsey doesn't get a medal.
No.
Horsey has to dance in France, which
Hmm.
it's jet lagged, it's confused.
Yeah.
That but how
It
long is that fucking is it a boat or a plane? How does Horsey get there?
I assume it has to go on a boat, but then that means Horsey seasick. Horsey spent a long time getting there. Horsey doesn't get to enjoy all of the Olympic sex that all the athletes get to do because they get kept in
You
separate
sure?
stalls. Yeah.
Yeah, but they don't have to wear condoms.
Well, I mean, they do breed them specifically to make even more good horses. So I guess they got that going for them. But if they're not getting to spend their time eating croissants and looking out over the Seine, it's a tough life being a horse, I admit.
Well, at least it's not like Oregon Trail style and they like cock the wagon to get him over there.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's fair. I don't think you can do that for the Atlantic Ocean, but I'm not like an expert on caulking wagons. My settlers always drowned, so.
Speaking of drowned, welcome to Swimfan.
Speaking of drowning, wow, great transition. Yeah.
This movie, we got to start vetting these fucking things, Kit, because I'm tired of watching stupid Fatal Attraction. And
Yeah. This one also took a number of clues from the Molly Ringwald one. Malicious, was that it? It has a
it
lot of shared DNA.
it shared so many nearly identical scenes.
Man, bitches love to ruin your day when the scouts are gonna show up, huh?
They love it. The baseball bat came into play. Like there was a
Mm-hmm.
present. But this is okay. So we've had Fatal Attraction with the adults. Then we bump down to, Fear, which
Mm-hmm.
is still teenage Fatal Attraction, but R rating. Then
Yeah.
in the 2000s, we get Swim Fan with the PG-13 rating. What is the youngest possible age we can show someone getting Fatal Attraction? Like, will there be a junior high Fatal
I was
Attraction?
gonna say, I think the absolute lowest you can go is tween, like 12. Any lower than that, and you're getting into that's just evil kid, like from what is it, the Omen, like or
Hmm.
whatever, like possessed child. That's a whole different genre. Tween and up, you can have it be a romance based thriller because obviously it's not going to be erotic at that point, but like a love slash thriller story.
They easily could have done an episode of Hey Arnold
Oh, for
with like
sure. Dude,
Helga's like an origin story of Glenn Close.
absolutely. Helga's already ready to boil a bunny. You know she is.
Absolutely. And
She has a shrine just like Marky Marks.
Guys, this movie, I'm gonna go ahead and just tell you up front. Before credits, 81 minutes. The second they hit 81, that shit goes to credits. And I'm
Mhm.
pretty sure it's because they decided in their mind that was the minimum amount of time they could have, and people still consider it to be a feature length film.
That is absolutely the case. And if they're not going to fill it with sex scenes, which they did not, they had to fill that time somehow. And it gets a little desperate in places for them trying to fill the time and make
I don't
that
know,
page
man.
count.
This movie hustled in ways that okay, so of any of the movies that I've watched, I watch every one of them twice. Everybody knows that. This movie, I'm not joking. The plot holes are just a piece of Swiss cheese. Like there's so many. But on your first viewing of this film, you get caught up so much mentally in certain plot holes that you totally miss other things that you just let slide.
Oh, I'm so excited to see what you picked up on that I missed by being obsessed with the plot holes that I was noticing.
There are so many fucking things in this that are hilarious that could have been solved in other ways. And I
Oh,
love
for
it. This
sure. And I try to I can mentally chalk it up to he's a stupid teenager. He's obviously not got the grades to get into a good school on his own, right? He's not going to get a scholarship or for anything other than swimming. And also he had a past with drugs and theft and like maybe there's a little brain damage that he did when he was on the drugs and now he's real dumb. And that's why he doesn't see that there are lots and lots of other ways out of his situation.
yeah. Yeah. So we'll get into this fucking thing. This movie stars Jesse Bradford and Erica Christensen, which honestly kind of had similar careers up to this point. They kind of had three big movies that
Had he
really
already
stopped here.
done Bring It On? Had he done that? Was that before this? Because he was really good in Bring It On, but in this, he very much is. He's coming off as discount Freddie Prince Jr. the whole time. There's just is not. He's not bringing a lot to the role other than that.
I don't blame any of the actors for this, and not even necessarily the writer. I feel like there's a lot going on with. I tried to find any evidence of this, but this movie reeks of the studio said this movie's for 13-year olds. Who gives a shit? Don't worry about it. I feel like there are 20 to 30 minutes hiding somewhere of this movie because there's so many little things that get left out that would have made other things make more sense that they're just like, who
Mm.
gives a shit? Just keep cutting. Just keep cutting. 81 minutes. That's enough. That's enough. Get it into the theater. I like Jesse Bradford. He was in this. He was in like you said, Bring It On and Clock Stoppers.
I never saw that one.
I don't know. I think he's handsome and likable, but in
Yeah.
this he's like a full-on Bella Swan type. Like where he doesn't have enough personality that he kind of could be anyone. Like me as a
Yes.
13-year-old or however old I was when this was in theaters, maybe like 15 or something. I don't know, man. This
I don't know. I was kind of delighted when they showed that her screen name online was Swimfan 85 and I was like, "Oh, she's the same age as my brother." I know exactly where I am and when I am now.
there are moments in this, like I believed them as high school kids, but there are moments in this movie where Jesse Bradford is fighting a mustache so hard to not be on his face that he could have also been 30 years old. I don't know. Let's hop into this story though. We kind of you kind of broke it down there where he's a swimmer, troubled past.
Mhm.
Let's take him to high school. What are we doing?
Well, first we have our opening, which shows her playing cello, him swimming. No, him having the car
Fucking.
make out. Yeah, he's making out in a car. She's playing cello, and then you see a bunch of trophies, and they're baseball trophies. And you're like, wait a minute. I thought this movie was called Swim Fan. Well, don't worry. It'll all be made clear at about the 68-minute mark.
Kit, I know you know this about me. You might have forgotten at some point. I was a swimmer. I was in swim team for 14 years.
Holy shit, I didn't realize it was for 14 years.
He and I had very different starts to swimming. You find out at some point in this movie his swimming origin story, which is he was a drug kid. He got sent to juvie.
Mhm.
And his description, it made it sound like he was just poking around in a closet and found it. He found an old lap pool in the basement of juvie.
And then they were like, "You gotta clean it," and he was like, "What?" And then in between cleaning it, I guess he started using it.
It was a good way, yeah, and I guess no one else was using. What's this pool that he just discovered, cleaned, and is now as a private pool in
Yeah,
child jail.
yeah. I mean, he clearly goes to a nice-ish. He goes to one of those schools that only exist in California. One of those high schools that looks like it's a college campus, and it's like half of it's outdoors, and it looks very, sort of stately and academic, and has a pool. Oh, fancy boy with
Their
a
pool,
pool.
holy shit.
It is an Olympic pool.
The only room we've seen nicer in any movie we've watched than the room this pool is in is anything that Donald Sutherland was in, like the churches in Don't Look
Oh
Now.
yeah.
Like this looks like he could have actually had to fix the mosaic tiles and shit in that.
Yeah, it's a very nice pool. And so you see him talking to his coach, the dad from Clueless,
Mhm.
and Coach Dad from Clueless is really intense, talking to him about how, like, you gotta stay focused if you want to get, world record times and get a scholarship to Stanford. And no stress, but it's like the most important thing in your entire life.
We set that up early that there's going to be there's gonna he's great swimmer. There's gonna be some guys to come look at him at some point. We've set this up. He goes outside to talk to his friends who have a real like cast a scream vibe.
Oh, for sure. You definitely were like, which of these teenagers are going to die? Not as many as you'd hope.
Very very few.
Very
Uh
few.
for a PG-13 movie, I want to say like we are going to bust this movie's balls. I had a great goddamn time both times watching this movie. This was very fun, and looking it up, this is a beloved movie of people our age, but I don't think they've seen it since they were 13.
That's probably true. There's a moment where, like, his buddy, I think it's Josh, gets knocked into by the weird kid in school. And
Mhm.
then when he's like, "Hey, come back here." And then when he sees who it is and that it's this weird kid, he's like, never mind," which I've never seen in a movie before. And I realized, oh, this movie is post Columbine. Everyone's everyone's
Yeah.
being nice to the weird kid because they're afraid he's gonna kill them all.
We're post Columbine and a year removed from 9/11.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
They're
like,
not gonna
people are
be
on
mean to that
edge.
kid. They're
And
on edge. And you know what? You were wrong. It wasn't that kid that's gonna kill you. It's the
his
cute
cousin.
cello girl.
Yeah, the weird kid too. He was played by James DeBello, who I know. I'm a huge fan of the movie Detroit Rock City, and in that movie, he's very much like the stoner character. In Cabin Fever, he was very much like a bro type character. So I had never seen him as like a dork that's getting picked on because this dude's huge.
He is big and he looks like he's in
He's
good shape. He looks like they're covering up the fact that he's handsome with a big pair of outdated glasses. And he has
Dahmer glasses,
Yeah,
yeah.
he has Dahmer glasses, and he's got a hearing aid, which only became clear later in the movie. And I was like, wait, were they just picking on the deaf kid? And then he realized, oh shit, I shouldn't pick on the deaf kid. Is that what happened? But he's not actually deaf. He has conversations with everybody. I mean, he's probably hearing impaired is the proper term for it.
Do you think though that it's oh we can't like he was ready to pick on him, saw who it was because throughout this movie as we gradually see snippets of this kid's life. He lives in a mansion.
Yes.
His family, I know you joked before we recorded that Garrett's going to say somebody was a ghoul again.
Yes, I
If
am.
anybody was a ghoul,
God damn it.
that kid's mom. She was like some Bella Lugosi ass like character Was she haunted? Like, did she possess Swimfan to make her do this shit?
Mm,
I don't understand their life, and we don't find out.
I mean, that's a whole intriguing subplot. Like see the story from Madison, the femme fatale's perspective, and she's actually just a very nice girl who plays the cello, who's being possessed by her demonic aunt that she's temporarily living with, and being puppeted into committing crimes. I love that idea. I'd watch that.
Unfortunately, that's not the movie we saw.
No.
So let's see where
Okay,
to.
so the girlfriend's sad he's going away to college is the next
Mhm.
piece of news. Is he's got a cute brunette girlfriend who is sad he's going away to college. He gives her a necklace, but he also meets the new girl Madison, aka Erica Christensen.
When he gave her the gift, like as they were talking about her going away, he's like, "I've got something for you." I immediately went back to Malicious, but I was like, "What can he give her? He doesn't have a baseball bat. He's not a baseball player.
Hmm.
Is he gonna give her his game-winning Speedo?"
I thought it was going to be a promise ring type
But
deal.
instead, it was some turquoise jewelry that he probably got with his mom while they were on vacation out in Arizona.
That seems about right. Although they don't look like they can afford a vacation out in Arizona, he and his girlfriend both clearly live on the wrong side of the tracks. They both have to work full time, like full jobs outside of school, including her working until like 1 in the morning at a restaurant. So, like, clearly they are not the rich kids in this very rich kids school, which you'd think would be an interesting dynamic that they would play with, that like this rich girl who's living in the mansion is the one who's seducing him, but it doesn't come up at all.
His mom's a doctor, though.
Yeah, but they also live in a neighborhood where they have to put the fucking thing on your
The club.
car, the club on your car, so it doesn't get fucking stolen.
The club was one of the first. There were two things that I'm like, oh man, these are gonna come back.
Hmm.
One, he's in the kitchen with his mom at one point, and a dog comes in. I'm like, that dog is getting malicious. I hope the puppet's just as good as the cat. The
God damn.
second,
Yeah.
the second is when we see the club. I'm like, oh, somebody's gonna get killed with that club. But it was just kind of product placement.
Yeah. Well, along with all the Nokia. Was it Nokia? Motorola?
Oh, it was what did I say in the intro? It was a Motorola pager, which made me
Mm,
realize because I didn't have a cell phone until probably 2004, 2005.
yeah, I
Definitely
didn't
never
until
had a
then.
pager. I don't know how you text on
Well,
them.
he was a former drug addict, and as far as I'm aware, the only people who needed pagers back then were drug dealers and doctors. So, you know.
That's fair.
But yes, there's the meet cute with Ben and the new girl Madison when she needs help picking a lock to get into her locker. So instead of Chekhov's club, it was Chekhov's hairpin that later comes into play. Sorry, not as exciting.
She's like, "Here, keep this." He's like, all right, got it.
Oh,
Will
okay.
do." And I don't know.
What
She's a
was your
cello. She's a cello kid. I've cello kids and horse girls are kind of adjacent.
I think it's because of the dedication, right? People that put like and that's the thing with what you were saying about Olympic athletes, like which one is gonna fatal attraction you, right? Is anybody who's got like that kind of obsessive devotion to the perfecting of a hobby, a sport, or whatever, like it's easy to see how that obsession can translate into putting that on a person. So like her being an obsessive cello person, it can work.
I'm gonna relentlessly try to fuck that boy.
Yes.
He will not say no to me.
Uh-uh. What was your initial impression of Madison?
She didn't seem weird. She didn't seem, I don't know, she just seemed normal, kind of boring, like a little flirty, but like his girlfriend seemed really great.
His girlfriend
Like
is a perfect girlfriend. She is marriage material. Her name
But
is
also,
Amy, which I'm getting the feeling that a lot of perfect girlfriends who are going to get cheated on are named Amy. That just seems like a girl who's going to get cheated on kind of name. And I'm sorry
sorry,
to all the
gals.
Amy's. Sorry, I'm so sorry. It's not your fault. But apparently, men cheat on Amy's with bitches named Madison. To me, she gave a very like she's got a sweet kind of baby face. She didn't give a lot of femme fatale energy to me.
No, not really. And I think before that, like really the big role she was known for was playing Michael Douglas's daughter in Traffic.
Oh,
Uh,
really?
which also, I don't know if you know, this movie was put out by Michael Douglas's production company. So
Huh.
he is thanked in the end credits. I noticed that at the very end. It says a special thanks to Michael Douglas. So I don't know. Fatal Attraction was absolutely in mind when they were making this movie. Like it wasn't
Oh, for
like
sure.
they didn't know what they were doing here.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I
Okay.
agree with you.
I have an important question for you.
Yeah.
In your read of the film, and since you watched it more times than me, maybe you actually know the answer to this. Is uh is our main guy, Ben, actually sexually active with Amy, his girlfriend? Or are they waiting?
I do think they're sexually active for a couple reasons. One, it did look like they were having sex in the opening scene. Like they were
I
making out
could
furiously, but her
that
bra
team
was kind of out.
yeah, okay, that's second base. That's not a home run, baby.
But later in the movie, when he's stressed out because a cello player's ruining his life, uh, his girlfriend basically says, like, let's go fuck later. That'll help you release.
Yeah, I just didn't know if she was offering like, "Hey, we could do it, finally for the first time." But you're right, it probably would have been phrased a little differently. Because I was trying to think about like if he is in a long-term relationship, he went from being in juvie and presumably not having sex, and then he's been with this girl for like 2 years and they're still not having sex, but they are making out enough in the car that he's like grabbing titty. It
And
makes
coming
a
in his pants. Yeah.
Yes, it makes a little more sense why he would be attracted to the first girl who's like, "Yeah, you could put your dick in me."
Yeah. Like he really didn't immediately agree to it, but he did put himself in a bad situation
Yeah.
with her where, I mean, to set it up, after the meet cute, he almost hits her with his car.
Yep.
He takes her home. She leaves a notebook in his car. He calls her, and then they end up going out for burgers. And then she's like, "Well, I still want to hang out." So they went to the pool.
Yeah.
And that
And
gets us
she's like, "I don't know how to swim." And he's like, "I'll teach you. Garrett, let's."
terrible coach.
Yeah, he's very thank God he was a terrible coach, Garrett. If he taught her how to swim, the ending of the movie would have been very different.
Though he may have been a terrible coach, but he did float her to the deep end of that pool and fucked her in the deep end, Kit.
It's pretty rad.
Did he tread water while fucking
Fuck.
in a pool?
Yes, that's what you could do when you're an Olympic level athlete, Garrett. The fact that
What
you
the
can't do that shows that you were never good enough to make it in the bigs.
The thing is, that isn't necessarily even, I think, something that somebody who's swimming laps could do. That's water polo shit. All those people do is tread water.
You know what? I hadn't thought of that. But you're right. If you want to fuck in the pool, don't hook up with a swim team guy. Hook up with a water polo guy.
Also, it's things like Swimfan and scenes like this that give us at a young age the notion that fucking in a pool's great.
I mean, it looks really cool. It looks really sexy. They're all wet, and it's like yeah, it seems like it would be good. It does. They do a good job of lying to you.
Any of my sexual experiences that I've had in water, where it be a bathtub, a hot tub,
Mhm.
or a pool, have all ended with at some point, I think, me saying ouchie.
Yeah, it ends in an ouchie or a this just isn't that's not working. Oh, that's not.
It really sucks that things like this and like showgirls and
Mm-hmm.
it really makes you think that this is going to be cool because
Yeah.
everybody's wet, everybody's glistening, everybody looks
They
good.
look so good.
It's more fun to watch than it is to do in practice.
Like so many things in this life.
There's a reason that Missionary is a classic.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does work. So, Garrett, I want to know on the scale of sexy instruction, where does teaching someone how to swim rank with like, in Ghost, you're teaching the pottery, or teaching someone to shoot pool, and you lean over to help them with the pool stick. Like, where does teaching someone to swim rank as far as sexiness goes?
I guess it depends on the age of the person. I think the
Assume everyone is of consenting age, Garrett.
oh, I'm just meaning like here it's still kind of cute, but the older you get, the less cute it is to watch somebody doggy paddle.
Like, it's okay to be in your mid 40s and not know how to throw a pot or shoot pool, but to not know how to swim, you look a little ridiculous learning it.
Well, and him saying, "I've got to teach you to swim," and he just kind of drags her out
Doesn't.
into the deep end and has sex with her.
Yeah. He's not a good teacher.
There's no lesson.
She's not a good student, though, either.
It's true. I've never taught anyone to swim, and they made me say, "I love you."
I did ask John, have you ever been, if you were a teenage boy and you are having sex with someone you've met like 2 days ago, maximum, and they say, "Tell me you love me." You don't have to mean it, just say it. What is your reaction? And he said, it's probably about the same as his. I'd be like, "What?" And then just do it.
Oh, I think I'm the opposite. I think I would say I love you and mean it. This person Are you kidding me? I'm like 16 years old having sex in a lap pool. Like
Mm.
I love you so much. We're gonna get married. I can picture our dog and house.
Okay, but what if you are cheating on your perfect girlfriend at the time?
Well, then my reaction's gonna be the same as his on the car ride home. Absolute look of regret. He
Yeah,
fucked up. Like in Malicious, same thing. The car ride home from the sex, major disappointment on the face. Didn't even
major.
enjoy it. The
Yeah,
second the venom comes out, your
it's
brain goes
over.
back to working normal.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
you
Because he
realize,
tries in the pool. He's like, "No, we can't." And then she's grabbing his dick, and he's like, fuck it." I, c- a man can only put up with so much. So this seems to be an important lesson, and I'm curious why um society feels this lesson needs to be taught. But in much the same way that in a horror movie, the virgin girl, right, lasts till the end of the movie and doesn't get killed. Um, Erotic thrillers seem to have this message like, "Hey, teenage boys, the girl who lets you stick your dick in her within 48 hours of meeting her is crazy. Stick with your boring cock tease girlfriend. Don't stick your cock in anything just because it will let you."
mhm.
And is that a message, Garrett, that you will teach your son someday when he's 15 years old? Hey, son, Oz man, don't just stick your dick in anybody that'll let you.
I think I'll actually give him the Mr. Show bit where there's the 3 holes in the barn. Um,
Mm.
and these holes 3 are not for thee. Don't stick your dick in these holes. Uh, First one's his daughter, second one's his wife. Turns out the third one's a milking machine that won't stop till it gets 50 gallons.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah,
That
wow.
is just as good of an erotic thriller as this. That is the
Mm,
lesson
mm.
someone gets. Yeah. No, well, do you remember early on in this podcast? It was one of the first episodes. I think I said something like, "Be careful who you fuck," and you got mad at me for telling our listeners what to do. And I was like,
If they want to take their lives into their own hands, that is their right, their God-given right. But the movies seem to have a very specific idea on who you are and are not supposed to fuck.
it's true though. Like these are all
Mm.
cautionary tales for a reason, and I think not as many people are learning from them as should.
Judging by the number of people who get their bunnies boiled every year, statistically, too many people are sticking their dick in crazy. So afterwards, she's like, "I hope you don't think I do this all the time," which is literally exactly what Molly Ringwald said. Like, you can't do that. You had a real hot fuck in a water based situation after meeting this guy that day. You don't get to say, "Oh, but I'm not easy. I'm not one of those loose women you hear about." Like, just embrace it. Be a slut. Fuck the whole swim team.
She tries,
She does.
and I do love that as Swimfan, as I will just refer to her the rest of this podcast, as Swimfan, because in this moment, like he stuck his dick in the water,
Mhm,
that unlocked like the true craziness.
mhm.
Nothing crazy had really happened yet,
No.
but now like switch has been flipped,
Yep.
and every scene until the end of the movie, her eye shadow gets darker,
That's how you know.
and his mustache gets bushier.
Just imagine if she'd been a goth chick. Like, where would it have to go from there? You've already reached peak.
I can't even tell if it's eye makeup or if she's just not been sleeping well.
Well,
But
it could be.
he wakes up to the phone ringing, and his girlfriend says, "I know what you did."
Oh my
Or
god, they
she
do
said
this
something like,
multiple times in this movie where she's like, "Busted. I know what you're doing." And then it's something completely unrelated. And it's like, wow, that was tense for all of 0.5 seconds. Thanks.
basically, like the next 15 minutes of this movie, we're just having lots of scenes of her being like, "Let's hang out," and him being like, "Yeah,
Nah.
I don't know." And she's really, really adamant about it. And she's like, "But we're just friends.
Yeah.
That's we'll just be friends." And in
And it's
the
already fucking up his swimming ability. Like with
Mhm,
Molly Ringwald, after the first time she had sex with him, he had a home run. Like at
yeah.
least at first, it was good for his career. This immediately is fucking up his ability to swim.
Yeah, because as he's swimming, we're doing a montage where he's in the pool. All of his friends are swimming in his jizz unknowingly. They're listening. They're listening to new metal, and he has a montage going in his head of fucking in that pool, winning races. But guess what? You got too much going on, and now John Ritter's kid is beating you in races. The nicest guy in this movie
Mm.
is John Ritter's kid.
Josh?
No, no, no,
Josh is
not
not a nice kid.
no, not
Wait.
Josh. The other one.
Oh, the other kid. Yeah, he seemed nice enough.
His friend Josh is such a dick, but like
Right?
he's that dick friend that a lot of us had in high
Mhm.
school.
Mhm.
But he is going through such an identity crisis.
Yeah.
The first time we see him, he's in like an Ashton Kutcher, like Von Dutch style trucker hat, and he's
Mhm.
being a douche. Next time we see him, he's dressed like a skater boy with like a little beanie, a wife beater. He's got his baseball bat. The third time we see this motherfucker, they're at a party and they're all dressed like greasers. I
Mm.
really think this is like a post 9/11, like no one knows who they are anymore.
2002 was a
Everybody's trying
tough
to
time, man. It was we were all going through some shit. Just in the same way she left behind her notebook to trap him into coming to see her, she leaves her panties in the car so that Amy will find them. And it's like immediately I'm like, damn, this girl is on her shit. Like, she is ready to go. She's making friends with the girlfriend. and, pretending she's meeting him for the first time. Like, she's
Honestly,
doing
she's
it,
kind of a criminal fucking mastermind.
right?
Like, there are parts of this movie where she's like 8 steps ahead of everybody, like preparing to do things that there are no feasible way for her to do, but she
Yeah.
does it. And that's the interesting part of the movie that you don't get to
That's
see,
why I want to
is
see the
all of
movie
her
from her
sneaking,
perspective.
right?
I want to
There's a
see where
fair
you
amount
got
of sneaking.
urine with fucking anabolic steroids in it, girl.
Yeah,
But
we'll get
we'll
to
get
that.
to that. So, he's on this GeoCities ass website.
Kit,
Yeah.
let me read you the notes I took on this scene.
Okay.
He's now at home on the internet on a website for swimmers. The most GeoCities ass website you've ever seen.
Garrett, we share one brain cell. It's literally right here in my notes. GeoCities ass website.
I'm looking at it in my notes right now as well. Leah watched it with me the first time, and when she saw the website, she said, when Trump says make America great again, he means this type of website.
You expect to see a little dancing baby in there, and maybe a little under construction GIF going back and forth. But yeah, here's the thing: is they're chatting through this swimming website.
Yeah, a website that ranks high school swimmers.
Yeah, and for some reason that has DMs on its forums there, I guess.
And
Why are they not
she's just been
using
camping out on it, waiting for him to go to fucking swim.com or whatever.
why were they not just on AIM, Garrett? AIM had existed since 1997. I was using it, you were using
Mhm.
it. She still could have been Swimfan 85. I don't think that was taken yet.
I got erotic thrillered a little bit on an AIM in high school.
Please tell me this.
I I had cyber sex kit. I had
Garrett, did it start with
yeah.
ASL? You didn't
No, I
ask
didn't.
each other ASL?
We already knew each other at that point, but it was a person I'd never met.
Oh.
And I did have a girlfriend. This is my freshman year of high school. So I
You
am
cyber cheated.
and I was a swimmer.
Garrett, you got swim fanned.
But one of my friends that liked my girlfriend knew,
Oh my god.
and he broke into my house.
No, he didn't. Shut up.
He logged onto my computer and printed out the entire conversation
Printed it.
on my own computer, fucked me with my own paper.
He made you pay for that. That's your ink. Does he know how expensive that is?
Then my girlfriend comes over.
Uh-huh.
We're watching The Exorcist.
Stop it, Garrett.
And then she slams down a handful of papers into my lap.
Garrett.
Yeah. I'll be honest, I don't know if I've ever told anyone this story. This is a
You just told the whole internet just
yeah.
now. Wow.
Is cyber sex cheating, since it could have been a
Yes,
boy for all I
Garrett.
know. I don't know who
That's
that was.
Garrett fucking a boy is still cheating.
But if I was unknowingly doing it, like
Garrett, if you have sex through a glory hole and you don't know who's on the other side, it is still cheating.
milking machine that doesn't stop till it
Yes.
gets 50 gallons.
Garrett, that is such an insane story.
Mm-hmm. I don't know why I gave you that. But we made out after that.
You and the girl, you and your girlfriend did, or you and the cybersex
Yeah.
girl?
During that whole boring bit at the beginning of The Exorcist.
She made out with you after she pointed out that you were cheating on her?
I wasn't cheating. That was just internet words.
So you said, "Hey, that's just internet words," and she said, "Okay," and then you made out.
I think it was more of a, obviously this is very embarrassing. I don't know how I handled it at that age. I was way more awkward then than I am now. So it was probably a lot of, I may have even cried. I don't know. I don't remember.
Well, that didn't exactly work out the way your buddy was hoping then, huh?
No, it turns out it unlocked a level of shame and dignity in me that that apparently was endearing, and also the beginning of The Exorcist is really kind of boring. I
It's a
don't care
little
what anyone
slow.
says. Like, there's never been a more who gives a fuck beginning of a movie than The Exorcist, and I'll stand by that. But this happened. I don't feel good. Does this make me a bad person? I mean, this was a long time ago. I was a different person.
Garrett, you were 14. Literally none of your decisions can be held against you.
Am I still your maid of honor?
No, I know what you did on AIM. Whatever. So, who amongst us has not had cyber sex on AIM?
Just a 14-year-old boy jerking off to words at the family computer.
Yeah, the only difference between you and me is I did not have a partner at the time, and I was meeting people via like anime for so
Jesus.
God only knows who I was talking to.
Well, this person was supposedly a couple towns over.
Oh,
I don't remember
supposedly.
their name. I wouldn't give it on the podcast if I did, but I don't
Right.
remember. I mean, obviously I never met this person in real life or even saw a photo of them. So it
It could
was
be
very
anything.
anonymous.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't know anybody. All right, so
Shit.
oh my god, how are we supposed to go back to talking about this movie after this bombshell revelation? Well, it's because he has a pager. That's the next thing that is I wrote in all caps right underneath. He has a motherfucking pager.
It's sick.
It's a pretty rad pager.
Well, I mean, he goes and he's talking to his coach, and his coach is like, you're fucking up. You're
Yeah,
fucking
pay
up. You're
attention.
talented. And the whole goddamn time, this blue Motorola pager is just blowing up with this crazy girl being like, "We fucked in a pool,
Yeah.
love me,
Love me. Um
cello."
How did she get his pager number? I do not know. That's not the kind of thing that's in the yellow pages, but I don't know.
That's one of the smaller holes in our Swiss cheese.
Yeah, no kidding. And she's in his house. He goes home and she's in his house. She's like, "Oh, I finally got to meet your mom." And he rightly says, "Finally?" Cuz again, they've known each other for like 3 days.
Okay, once again, an interesting thing with a lot of these movies, beginning to end timeline. How
Mhm.
many days in total do you think
It's
this movie is?
pretty unclear, but I want to say 2 months start to finish.
Oh shit. Okay.
That's
Um
my guess. Why? What was
yeah,
yours?
I mean that's as good of a guess as any. I would have guessed 2 weeks. Like maybe even a week. But you have to assume these parties are on weekends and a lot of
Yeah.
these meetings, and they're still going to
There's
jobs,
a lot of time when they're at jobs and school and that it's not showing,
which, can you
presumably.
believe the job that he has? He's basically an orderly at an old age home, and he's in charge of pills.
Yeah, there's no way they let some random teenager do that job. It's insane.
Well, you would, yeah. I mean,
Maybe
his
his
mom does
mom
work there.
got it for him. She hooked him
He
up.
they're like, "He's a drug addict." He's like, "Yeah, but he swims real good, so he's responsible." Um,
Also, it's a juvie record. It's sealed.
but he's got an old man there that he's friends with, and he brought him porno cards. Really, maybe the most erotic part of the movie. If you try and pause it just right, you might see a boob.
Heyo. But yeah, so she's saying some really wonderful things. He's like, I think you're misunderstanding our relationship." She's like, "Yeah, we're friends." And he's like, "This isn't what friends do." And she's like, "Friends see each other. Friends are happy when friends stop by with flowers." And she says this like in the most Children of the Corn-esque kind of
Hmm.
like tone of voice. Um
She's not wrong though.
I mean, she's not, but like I feel like he could have dealt with this differently by being like, "Yeah, but I don't like it when people drop by unannounced." You know? Like even you could have done it without like telling her uh uh when she says, "What are you saying, that making love to me was a mistake?" And he's like, "Yeah, I guess that is what I'm saying."
Though after that line, we got the most interesting piece of filmmaking that comes back throughout this entire movie.
Mhm.
Because visually not a super interesting movie, other than like the movie's just kind of got a blue hue
Yeah.
throughout the whole thing, like I'm in a pool.
Yeah, yeah.
um,
That is
like,
the one of the most notable cinematography choices. But yes,
but
this is
when
the other one.
yeah, when he says yes or whatever, like that was a mistake, the way it cuts, it's just like 3-inch cuts on the same side of her head where the camera will just like bing, 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 like just bounce back and forth, showing you that her brain is
Is
melting.
shattering in front of you.
And the music that plays in those moments is like, I don't know, a sword coming out of a sheath in a samurai movie.
Mhm.
It's like shing, like she's having a mental breakdown.
Yeah. And so uh she listens to some sad cello music. She's definitely copied his car key, and she sends him via GeoCities ass website uh the beautiful slow loading soft core porn pic of her with her boobies just covered by the little selfie camera in the mirror, and the pixelation coming in. Garrett, did that bring back beautiful memories of you jerking off to real media clips that were like 20 seconds long?
Kid, it was a combination of yes, that, but also just that beautiful era from 2002 to, let's say, 2011,
Hmm.
where where, like, before the iPhone had the front-facing camera, the
Yes.
selfie mirror shot,
Hmm.
that went away, and it shouldn't have. I like seeing the mirror.
Well, she
I
had to
like
use a
seeing the
fucking
phone.
actual camera and then upload it
Mhm.
to the computer, presumably. She went through a lot of work. This is like making a mixtape back in the day. You didn't just put together a Spotify playlist, you went through some effort to show this kid not your actual boobs, which she's already seen.
That's true. I mean, it's still an exciting picture to get as a boy, just not in the school library while your
Yes.
girlfriend's there and you can't get the computer to turn off.
Trying to like alt F4 or whatever over and over again.
As she is sending him 81 emails.
Oh my
And
god. So yeah, so she starts dating Josh, the other swim team guy, and for a moment it seems like everything's going to be okay. Like maybe she's moved on. You could see the relief of like, okay, she's done.
the
And
eyeshadow's still getting darker, though.
yeah, so he should have known that this was not over yet. He meets up with his girlfriend and they're talking. She's like, "I know what's going on," or whatever, and we have our second of those moments. And then it's, "I know you're really stressed out and you thought I was pressuring you too much by saying that I could transfer, like, or I could go to school in Berkeley so our colleges would be closer together, and I it's okay if we just want to take it one day at a time." And she's like, "It's like, God, could you be any more obnoxiously perfect? No wonder he cheated on you. He says I don't deserve you." She doesn't contradict him. She doesn't say, "Of course you do," or like, "Oh, and I don't deserve you." No, no, she knows she is too good for him.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, this relationship, the whole situation, we're so early into these nice people's lives. This is a relationship that just needs to be left in the rearview mirror and start over at a
She needs to
college.
go to college. She needs to meet another, like, a better guy. He needs to not stay for the rest of his life with the girl he associates with saving him from his like crime and drug life previously, because he doesn't, I think it's because he feels like he doesn't deserve her that he cheated on her. Like subconsciously, like some part of him was like, "This is gonna end anyway. Like I might as well get my dick in this blonde."
You're right. Therapy is what he really
They
needed,
all
but
need therapy. but then he was rude to the nice randy old man in the hospital, and I was like, this is the one man you should be talking to about your problems. Don't be
That old
rude
man
to the
likes
randy
you.
old man. He's the one. Do you know how much shit this man has seen? He absolutely has been in this exact situation before, and he doesn't know anyone that he could tell on you to. So like, lay out your whole story for him. He'll help you out.
This is one of the weirder moments. So he's got his cart of pills,
Hmm.
and he goes and brings the old man pills, and his back is to the cart the whole time, and gives the guy the pills, walks away, code blue immediately. Like he's been out of that room for 10 seconds, and
And
there's
that
a
man
code
is
blue.
dying.
He gave him poison. Somebody fucked with his cart.
Yeah, somebody switched the meds, and you know what? Maybe it turns out that they never should have hired a like 17-year-old to be in charge of medication. Shocker. And it's really funny because like they had just had that conversation where she was like, maybe you need to drop some of your commitments, and he's like, I'm trying to drop you. And then she goes and does this. She's like, if he doesn't have a job, then he'll have more time for me.
His scene after this, because he gets fired from his job,
Yep.
he immediately, this scene's hilarious. He basically sprints from job to his school,
Hmm.
which is empty,
Yes.
runs into the library
Which is empty.
where Swimfan is playing cello,
Mhm,
disrespects that fucking cello hard,
mhm,
throws
mhm.
the cello, and chokes her. Just
Yeah, and she's like, "If you wanted it rough, you should have said something." And this is not getting him what he wants. It's clearly the worst possible option is to go into a public place and start choking her. So he goes to his girlfriend and he's like, "This is all fucking going to shit. I gotta tell my girlfriend what's going on and fess up." And she's like, I don't get off till 1 in the morning and you have a swim meet tomorrow. This is a dumb idea. Go home and we'll talk in the morning. And then, Garrett, was it clear to you what happened next?
I rewound it and watched it again on the first view because I'm like, I missed something. So we took it back. Basically, he walks into school
And
and
everybody's looking at him.
everybody's giving him the look like, oh, you fucked up. He runs up, gets to his locker. His girlfriend's standing there crying, slaps him in the face. I was expecting to see a note on his locker, spray
Yes,
painted,
I thought for
something.
sure there was going to be like a big spray paint or poster that's or pictures of them together, like of them like fucking in the pool or something. That there would be something that she had like posted for everyone to see in the school, but instead it's completely unclear how everyone in the school found out.
No, and we don't even know if she knows it's with her, with Swimfan. Like we're the only people in this movie that doesn't know what happened.
That's a
Like the
strange but good point because yes, everyone else knows how they know. I don't know
as an
why we don't.
the principal knows. Like
Yeah.
everybody knows. The fucking scouts at his swim meet know,
Yeah, and
basically.
they're
Like
like, "You cheated
the
on your girlfriend, man."
yeah, because next, like you see him, he has a swim meet and he has to take a piss test
Mhm.
before they swim. He gives his piss, he passes his buddy, and his buddy's giving him like a you fucked up.
Yeah.
They get there, we see the swim dorks up in the balcony. Huge dorks, the guys that are gonna recruit him into this
Yep.
college.
The swim scouts.
And this scene is so bizarre. So Cher's dad from Clueless, aka Dan Hedaya, he comes over and he whispers, he's like, hey man, you tested positive for steroids. Steroids are not allowed in this school. Real
Oh,
line.
really? As
You're
opposed to
off the
all the
team.
places where teenagers are allowed to use steroids in competitions.
But then weirder than that is immediately the guy who gets on the megaphone over the whole room and's just like, Ben isn't in the race. Ben has been let go from the race. He will not be competing. He has been disqualified. He is a lying, cheating
He's a
fuck.
bad boy.
His
And
dad left him
I
when they were children, when he was a
I
kid.
don't
and-
understand why he wasn't like, this is insane. I demand that you let me take a new test right now. You can watch me piss in the cup. Like, why does he not defend himself? Instead, he goes over and he, like, I assumed, so here's what I assumed happened. Because he goes
Mhm.
over to Josh and he's like, oh my god, you helped her. Because Josh is looking all smug. And Josh is like, whatever, dude. And it's he shoves him into the pool.
Mhm.
Josh shoves Ben into the pool. And
Very disrespectful.
I was like, oh shit, that's Josh's piss. Josh is on steroids. That's why he's been swimming better. And he swapped their urine, and that's why uh he tested positive, is because it was Josh's urine. He switched the labels, and like you could just here tell the coach, like, hey, I went over and I said, hey, you switched our urine and he shoved me in the pool. Like, this is very clearly not, like, I've been sabotaged. But no, he never tells anybody that there's a chance of sabotage. He's just
Kid,
content to let his entire life disintegrate.
I genuinely think you're wrong on how this happened.
No, because then I've turns out I was completely wrong. Josh didn't use steroids. Instead, he didn't know anything about this, and it was all Maddie. It was all Madison. It was all Swimfan.
When we found that,
Where did she get the fucking piss with steroids in it, Garrett?
well, we see that she has the steroids. It was her piss. She had been taking steroids
What?
and she switched the piss.
Are you
Like,
telling
it
me
was
that all
her
this
piss.
happened because she was on, like, that she beats Josh to death later because she had roid rage?
So that's yes, because in that moment when I saw that, like when the piss thing happened, I was like, oh my god, she's gonna be buff as fuck next time we see her. He is going to have like an Incredible Hulk size foe.
It's gonna be like in Love Lies Bleeding. Her muscles just start to bulge out.
Seriously though, like, because after this scene, he ends up
He just lets so much shit happen to him from here on out. He does not defend himself in any way that makes any sense to anybody. So Maddie is making out with Josh afterwards, like, because she's got a new hot swim buddy, but she calls him Ben while they're kissing, and he's like, oh my god, Ben was right, you're an obsessive bitch. And I was like, I don't think Ben ever actually said that. So that's a little weird. But she doesn't take this very well, does she, Garrett?
She doesn't. Ben goes to swim team practice, opens his locker, finds Josh's baseball bat that he had earlier in the movie in his locker. Thinks, weird. He goes out, goes to the pool, takes a little dive. There's no one around. Swims one lap headfirst into a dead fucking body.
How did he not? I was like, I did not see this coming at all. And clearly, somehow, neither did our main character. How did he not see that there was a dead body in the pool? Or did she manage to drag a dead body into the pool, like, in the amount of time that this almost Olympic caliber swimmer can make it from one end of the pool to the next?
That body was definitely already in there. And in the words of what I assume a studio executive said, when somebody asked about this, I don't know, they're 13. Who gives a fuck? Like, they don't fucking care. This was this was truly a movie that, like, so little care was put into logic. And I love it. I kind of love it.
So, like, obviously he's getting framed, and the bat was in his locker so that his fingerprints would be on it. Problem is, the bat has no blood on it, so it's clearly been cleaned, and his fingerprints are on it after it's been cleaned, so it doesn't make any goddamn sense. And also, for some reason, he never tells the cops, like, have you looked into his girlfriend? His girlfriend's fucking crazy. His girlfriend was like stalking me and she tried to get me and my girlfriend to break up. Like, you should check her out. She's
Everybody fucking knows
crazy.
you fucked her in a pool at this point.
Yeah,
I think. So just tell the cop.
tell the cops. But no, instead he's like content to let himself like be framed for murder. He's like, well, that's gonna happen. So instead he's like, well, I guess the only option I have here is to break into her house.
While she's having a cello recital in front of, like, you saw the movie Hereditary, right?
Mm-hmm.
The cult in the treehouse at the end
Oh,
with their
yeah.
dicks out.
Mm-hmm.
I think those are the same people she's playing the cello for.
I was more getting the vibe that they're like people from the what's the famous painting of the farmer and his wife?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that they looked like those people to me, but similar vibe.
Well, since
So
they were, I presume, her aunt's friends, who is like either
yes,
possessed or a cult leader, a
yeah,
witch. There was some like
something.
pie may shit, and they just had their dicks put away.
That was nice, considering a 17-year-old girl was in front of them playing the cello.
Hey,
It's
they had their
considered
dicks out for the
rude.
17-year-old boy in the treehouse in Hereditary.
That's fair. So, he breaks into her house. It's really dumb. He's making very bad choices, but he finds her shrine box of him, of all the articles about him and his swimming, and a Marky Mark style picture with the face cut out and her face put in. Thankfully, it's not, and she didn't replace like his mom with her, like Marky Mark did with the dad. She at least replaced the girlfriend, I think.
Also, this is where he pulls out the pill bottle of steroids in her like panty
Yes.
drawer.
Oh, that's what that was. I assumed
Yeah.
those were the pills that were that she used to kill the old man.
No, I believe it does on there say like steroids.
Well, good news, dude. You got your fingerprints all over that, so you're really doing a great job here. He finds like a hospital volunteer shirt in her closet. Like there's a smorgasbord of evidence here. And then the weird kid Hank comes. I did you not expect this kid to be walking around with like a copy of Catcher in the Rye and he's about to go like assassinate John
Kit,
Lennon?
there is
Yes.
a scene where he is literally reading Catcher in the Rye.
What? You're
I'm
joking.
not I'm not fucking joking. It happened before this. Like, remember, he's eating lunch and he sees that kid across the fucking table.
Oh
He's
my
like across the
god.
room. He's literally sitting there reading Catcher in the fucking Rye because I paid attention to what book he was reading.
Garrett, this movie is so fucking cliche that I'm guessing it even without having actually seen it, that part. That's insane. So
But
yeah, but it turns
either
out he doesn't want to assassinate a beetle. What he wants to do is help out our protagonist here,
he
and
just he doesn't want to assassinate a beetle. He just really wants to impress Ronald Reagan. Or no, impress Jodie Foster.
Jodie
Sorry.
Foster. No, sorry. There's different assassins here with who are sad. Sad assassins.
But
Okay. So yeah, he's like, "Oh, here's my cousin's old shrine box for her last boyfriend." And which is a bunch of baseball stuff.
but he's yeah, and then he sneaks him out so she doesn't see him, and he's basically like, my cousin's really really scary. And then they meet up, and this is where he sees the Catcher in the Rye book, and he's like, here, come with me. Cousin takes him to New York City.
Yeah, that's insane, right? Like, she specifically said, I knew a baseball player back in New York City and he was being scouted by the Mets. So there's no possible way that they're in anywhere but New York City, right? But, like,
Yeah,
how
no,
did
because
they get there?
he
Garrett?
drove. They live in New
From Cal.
Jersey.
They don't. This is the most. They live in. I'm sorry, but this place is the most California coded place I've ever seen.
I think it actually even was shot in New Jersey.
Are you kidding me? But he's talking about going to Stanford and she's talking about going to Berkeley.
Yeah, because he's saying, like, I have to move across the country for it. Because
Oh,
even his license plates are
shit.
Jersey license plates.
I did not notice that. I was just like, oh, of course this isn't California. Only California would have a high school where like half of it is outdoors.
Well, because we were trying to figure out, and we just knew they were East Coast. We didn't know if they were, at first we thought Rhode Island, because they actually do bring up Rhode Island
Nobody
at some
brings
point
up
too.
Rhode
But
Island.
he has a New Jersey license plate. So they're in Jersey and drive up to New York.
Okay, so which makes none of the rest of this make any goddamn sense. The fact that like the timeline on the rest of this sequence
No.
is bazonkers.
Well, the timeline isn't even the problem here. So the cousin takes him to this hospital where her ex-boyfriend is in, like, kind of a nunnery slash hospital. Like, it
One of
seems like a
them
religious
nunnery.
hospital.
I thought it was an insane asylum at first because it was definitely not coded hospital like. It was coded more nunneries slash insane asylum. But no, apparently it is. It's one of those really nice wood paneled hospitals you see all the
But it's,
time.
yeah, her ex-boyfriend Jake is a vegetable. And
Yeah.
you find out that Madison was driving a car, or well, yeah, I assume Madison was driving. He did not have a seatbelt on. She did. They crashed.
I
What's insane about
assume
this fucking room? It's huge.
it
This
is.
his hospital room is bigger than I would say most hotels I've
I
ever stayed
assume
at.
that like maybe his parents are rich and they paid for him to be in like some private care facility for like long-term Catholic care where the nuns will put you
He's
in a
a
nice room.
veggie.
Well, okay, but Catholics don't believe in taking people off life support, Garrett.
You don't have to take him off, but you could store him in a fucking closet. He doesn't need to be in the nicest room in the hospital. Like, you could
Well,
fit 9 guys in there. He doesn't fucking care. He is literally a vegetable.
well, Madison's convinced that if they leave him surrounded by his trophies and Letterman jacket and all that, that someday he's gonna wake up and be completely back to normal.
Here's where Plot Hole City starts to just everything falls apart story wise. He gets a Motorola page to call his mommy. He calls mommy because during all of this scene, we're getting a montage of Madison, aka Swimfan, stealing his Bronco and running his girlfriend down on her Vespa.
Mhm.
The mom calls and says, your girlfriend's in the hospital. There's witnesses that you did it.
Yeah, you see her put on a baseball cap, and like that's the way she makes herself look like like Ben. Is that she put on a baseball cap and I guess a Letterman jacket, and like there you go, it's him.
But beyond that, he is in another state
Yes,
where there are hundreds of people who've
so
seen
many
him.
witnesses. He talked to a nurse. He talked to the nun at the front. He has the cousin. He's calling you from a payphone in New Jersey.
He could go to a police station right now and say, I just found out this just happened. They think I did it. I'm
I'm
here.
clearly here.
Alibi.
Go talk to the woman,
Alibi.
talk to the nurse you just talked to and say, "Excuse me, I know this is weird, but like the craziest thing just happened. I've been accused of a crime that apparently just happened. And I, like I'm here. Can you please tell them that I'm here and I've been here and all this is a crazy mistake?" But
But
no,
we don't do that.
instead, no, he has a way better plan.
He has a plan, like a big
It's a
thought
good
out
big
plan,
plan and it's a way
multiple
better
people
plan.
involved. This is
So
also where he's got like a mustache. Like his 5 o'clock shadow is popping in these scenes for the rest of the movie.
so so they she Madison is at the hospital where Amy is recovering, and she's like walking around in a doctor's coat, and for some reason no one's like, "Excuse me, are you a teenager dressed up like a doctor?"
She
Like
looks fucking 30 with that doctor's coat on. She
well, that's
immediately became old.
true, but as someone who knows what actual like high school students look like, now that I am in my 30s, high school students look like absolute babies to me. So that old ass security guard that she made direct eye contact with. Should have been like, hey, I don't think you work here.
What are we, 8 years removed from Doogie Howser being on the air? Like, it's not unheard of.
So she's walking around with a scalpel, planning to sabotage and kill,
Slit her throat,
yeah,
presumably. Like,
fucking do something. And they have the hospital page the dead, not dead, coma kid's name come to the
mhm.
nurse's station. And they do that multiple times until she's like, I guess I gotta go find out what that's about for a reason. And there in the lobby is 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 him, the coma kid, with the Letterman jacket and the hat and everything. And so she follows him out into the parking lot, and she's like, "What's this, coma boyfriend?" And it turns around, and no, it's the cousin.
This is where shit gets, like, bonkers, crazy plot hole, dumb writing,
Yeah,
everything.
yeah, yeah,
So in this scene, and I didn't notice this in the first watch. This was in the second watch when I really paid attention to what was being said, because Ben stops her from stabbing the guy and is holding the scalpel to her throat.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
And he's yelling about everything that's happened.
Yep.
This is a sentence he says on camera because
Mm-hmm.
presumably he's trying to get a confession out of her.
Yes, because secretly this whole time, one of his friends is the random girl that they just kept having show up in the background in other scenes so that you wouldn't be totally confused when she shows up as a major plot point at the end. But yeah, she's there with her camera, and so presumably, yes, they're trying to trick her into confessing on camera.
But the line that he says to her
Hmm.
is, "They already think I killed Josh, and I tried to kill Amy." That sentence didn't come out right.
Nope.
That came out as him confessing.
Yep.
And then he says, "I'm already going to spend the rest of my life in prison. What's one more?" And then she says, "I did it for us." And
Hmm.
then at that point, he smacks her in the back of the head
Yes.
and he's holding a thing to her throat. All this video shows is him confessing to murder,
Hmm.
holding a knife to somebody's throat, and
Hmm.
physically hitting her.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
the cops are like, "You're right, she did it."
Clearly this crazy bitch did it. And it's like none of this was necessary. He didn't need to do any of this. Honestly, all he needed to do was like drop the knife and like just here you're a fucking swimmer. She's a little teenage girl. Just drag her ass back to the cops. None of this is necessary. And it's a terrible confession because all she says is, I did it for us, which means nothing.
No. And if the next thing that she
The
does
only
is
thing they
fucking
have her on is
insane,
impersonating a doctor, which I don't even think is a crime.
if she had a good lawyer, I think this tape would have actually gotten her off.
Yep,
Other than
yep.
if he had any lawyer at all that would have been like, he was in New York, there's 100 witnesses. But the cops put her in the cop car. This is bizarre.
This
One
is
cop is
so
driving,
insane.
the other cop sits in the back seat with her. You know
You know,
why,
like
Kit?
cops do.
The
Why?
reason he was sitting back there is because the cameraman was sitting in the front seat. Like reality television, because that's
God,
how they filmed it.
it's so
She
stupid. Why you have arrested someone for murder and you are gonna ride in the back seat with the perp with your gun just right there where she can grab it.
she pulls that gun out, shoots both cops in the head. Next, we
And
get,
there's no like glass or whatever that separates the front seat from the back seat. You know, the thing that they have to prevent shit like this from
well,
happening.
there's a glare if you film through that. This is all filming. Like, this is the DP. This is a shitty DP. Uh the funniest thing though is, like, now that, like, that this is over and we see him going to talk to Amy. Amy is beat the fuck up because she's been run over by a car,
Hmm.
and she looks you've never seen
Haggard.
someone so disappointed,
Yeah.
where, like, she is dealing with so much shit for
Yeah.
like where it's like You can do better, girl. This
Hmm.
like this should have been the end where she
Don't let
says,
this man drag you down. Don't let this kid ruin your future. You deserve so much better in so many ways. You've got good grades, good enough to get into Berkeley, right? You work long hours. You're a nice kid. Uh, you can do so much better than this chump.
but he tells about his daddy issues. Dad cheated on mom. He said he was never going to do that, but he did anyway and hurt
Doesn't
the
even
person he
explain
loved so
why.
much.
This is the weird thing is like you told me a heartfelt story about like my dad cheated on my mom and I didn't want to be like him and I didn't think it would happen this fast that I turned into my shitty dad. And it's like that doesn't tell your girlfriend why you did it. It's not even an apology, really.
The next part I don't understand. He goes home. She knocks Ben out with a swim trophy, knocks his mom out with a swim trophy.
Hmm.
This scene seems like it could have just been skipped. Nobody really needed to be
This
knocked
is
out.
where I wrote this movie should be over by now, but they gotta make page count, I guess. Because
You
the
got to hit
movie seemed.
81 minutes. That's
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
important.
So, yeah, dumb, no good reason for anything, but he gets a page telling him, like, you want to go for a dip? And so he realizes that he's taking
The
the
pool.
pool, of course. And there she's got Amy strapped to a chair, handcuffed to a chair because she was in a cop car, so she has free handcuffs. And she's like gonna throw her in the pool and she's like, all you have to do to make me not do this is say you love me. And he's like, I can't do that.
She gets tossed in the pool.
I was like, if I'm Amy, I'm so mad you didn't just lie. I do not need you to declare that you don't love her and you actually love me nearly as much as I need to not die right now.
It's actually this scene that makes me think the movie takes place in a week or two. Because as she sinks to the bottom of the pool, he
He
u- he realizes he still has her hairpin in his jeans pocket.
Well, first of all, physics underwater doesn't work because apparently the chair is too heavy for him to just lift out of there. It's just a regular ass wooden chair. It's underwater, and he's a very powerful athlete. There's no reason he shouldn't be able to just shove that up there.
Mm.
But okay, he has to use the hairpin. Garrett, I'm going to counterpoint. He's a teenage boy. Of course, he hasn't changed or washed his jeans in like 2 months.
Mom is gonna go tell him
Uh
these
uh-uh.
jeans are so board stiff.
uh.
You have to wash these fucking things.
No. No. Although, now that you mention it, like Amy's parents are still out of town. That's why she was throwing a party earlier in the movie. So, if they're still out of town and that's why she is recovering at Ben's house instead of her own house and that's why Maddie knocks Ben and his mom out to get Amy kidnapped,
Mm,
that does mean that like unless her parents are out of town for like a month, that the party was like a week ago,
yeah.
which is insane because the party was way back when they had just fucked like the day before.
Timeline stupid.
Timeline's
But
real stupid, but yeah, we get Chekhov's barrette so that he unlocks her, and she's trying to whack him with the pool skimmer thing to keep him from rescuing his girlfriend. And he yoinks it and pulls her in, and that's when she gets her comeuppance for not paying attention to her swimming lesson.
yeah, and then where we end up here is just the weirdest CPR scene I've ever seen on film. He
Can you
dragged
call it CPR? Even what he's doing?
well, you can call it a prince's kiss that brings a lady back to life because motherfucker doesn't do a single chest compression,
Nope.
not a one, just blows into her mouth, which, let's be honest, if you were a teenage boy, sexiest part of CPR.
We all know that.
But she doesn't die, and they drown Swimfan.
Yeah, it is wild to me that they just look over and see Maddie's body floating in the water and they don't even try. They're not even like a cursory attempt, like, I guess like we could try to not. No, they are ice cold about letting a teenage girl die in front of them. Like, you are 17, 18 years old and you are a murderer, what you've done.
No, she killed 2 cops, she killed Josh, her boyfriend's a vegetable, she
I
tried to
still
kill
wouldn't
Amy.
I wouldn't want it on my conscience that I had just sat there while someone drowned in front of me. I'm just saying.
I don't know. I mean, it sounds like you don't have a very strong sense of vengeance,
I
which is like
don't.
which is
I'm
maybe
so
a good characteristic.
but yeah, so then we get a quick like little epilogue where we see a swim competition. Oh, except he's not in it. He's in the stands. And then he gets in the Bronco with Amy and they drive off. End of movie. And
It's nice that John Ritter's kid is now the best swimmer.
I don't understand, like, so all this happened and he still didn't bother to get a new piss test? Like, why? Or does he not
Yeah.
want to swim anymore? Was the pool ruined for him after he fucked in the pool? His girlfriend almost died in the pool. His stalker did die in the pool, and now the pool is just ruined.
He found his dead friend in the pool. Like
Oh
the
shit!
pool has there's just, like at a certain point, juice isn't worth the squeeze. Just move on with your life.
Have you
Let's find a
considered
new
other
hobby.
sports? Yeah. I definitely didn't feel like their relationship was totally repaired though. And I do think Amy, after this, like, oh, you saved my life, like trauma bond has worn off, she's gonna leave his ass. And thank God for it.
Yeah, I mean, it's not gonna last. This relationship is kind of like in Malicious. It just,
Mm, you
it
fucked
maybe
it
it
up.
goes a couple more months, but it's fucked.
Yeah, you
It's
had
fucked.
perfect girlfriend and you fucked it up and you're not getting a second chance. I'm sorry. All right, so it's time for the serious business. Garrett, are you ready?
Yeah.
Were you aroused? Scale of 1 to 5.
I kind of was when we were talking about that old AIM conversation that I had.
I'm talking about the movie.
Oh, the movie? No. Uh I mean, I do like that at this point, we've done code era movies, so
hmm
way like G G movies.
Yeah.
We Now we're at the PG-13. Like
And
we've
we've done
done
Arabella Dark Angel or whatever, where it's just like full on everything, naked, naked, naked. And yeah, we've now done the full range. And this is on the PG side.
so with this one, I talking to some people about this, like friends that remembered seeing it, they remembered liking it. But I also think that once again, they haven't watched it since they were 13 or 14,
hmm
whenever it came out. I mean, no, it isn't. But I think as far as like making a PG-13 erotic thriller, like if you're doing one with teens that is actually made for teens that they can see without a guardian in theaters, it was it's pretty well done. Like it made pool sex look
It did.
fun.
The pool sex looked good. But there's only those two scenes. You see
Old man
them
boner
fool.
cards.
There's old man boner cards. There's him fooling around with his girlfriend in the Bronco, and then there's the pool sex, and that's all you get. Well, I guess you also get the slowly loading in pixelated picture of her with her boobs covered up. So you got that.
It's a one. I mean, I think we're both gonna say this
Yeah.
movie's a one. I don't think there's any argument otherwise. I don't think this would have gotten a teen boy going. I think that
I don't
maybe
think it would
like
have gotten
teen
it.
girls would have had more fun with this as just a
I
movie in general.
You get to see a lot of men stripped down to their speedos. So if that's what you're into, like it's got that. It's just there's not a lot of hot and heavy action. Okay, well, how about thrills? Garrett, were you thrilled? Scale of 1 to 5.
I laughed a lot watching this movie. I mean, this is a like real thrills like where I was fearful for anybody. No,
Mhm.
but
You weren't scared when the car was like uh, coming in on that Vespa. You weren't a little nervous?
She had her helmet on. Um, so she was going like 20 miles an hour, and she ran her over at like 60 miles an hour on a highway.
Mhm.
Uh, I'm trying to think. Like, I mean, the cop thing was a fucking surprise. Like that
Yeah,
escalated quickly.
really quickly. And I would say there's some thrill in watching this kid like ruining his own life. And I don't mean in the traditional sense of like he shouldn't have fucked this girl and that ruined his life by cheating on his girlfriend. I mean like by not demanding a new piss test and not telling people, "Hey, I'm in a different state." Like that kind of ruining his life definitely made me anxious and uncomfortable.
It really took me back to those AIM days where those papers got slapped down in my lap, and I was like, "Oh no!" So like I did feel for the guy.
I'm so okay. Can you put a numerical score on that feeling?
Oh, you take me back to freshman year of high school? That feeling? If I have to put a numerical score on that, you know what? I mean, at the time, I had never experienced anything like it. So at the time, it was a 5. And then I got to do some kissing afterwards. So that's pretty good. Erotic as well. Didn't go further than that. But movie one, AIM chat was great, followed by the reveal 5.
I would put the movie at a 1.5. I'll give it a little bit more than 1, but not a lot. And Garrett, would you ruin your life for a swim fan?
As a swimmer,
Mhm.
not anymore. Well out of the game. But I was when this came out. So I was the target market of a swimmer and a
Mhm.
movie that swimmers get laid.
Mhm.
Would I have done it
Mhm.
that age in high school?
Mhm.
I think we proved it with that AIM thing. I was a
Not
horny
only
fool.
not only would you ruin your life, you did ruin your life. But it
It was
just worked
okay.
out okay.
She ended up cheating on me for real
Oh.
with a senior.
Oh, man,
Oh my god.
well,
Can I give you a little story?
yeah?
So that senior went to our college.
No.
And because I'm from a small town and everybody knows everybody, that senior also had too many DUIs to drive home for Thanksgiving.
You did not drive the guy your girlfriend cheated on you with home for Thanksgiving because he had DUIs.
He called me
No.
and asked me on the phone, "Could you give me a ride?" And I had to tell him, "Do you remember the last interaction we had? We didn't even interact. My girlfriend cheated on me with you my freshman year, and I know we're like several years removed from that, but like it does give me great pleasure to tell you no."
I'm not even saying you deserve this necessarily. I'm just saying it makes me happy to be able to say no.
And I said, "But in all seriousness, do you think it would be fun to sit next to me for a 4-hour car ride?" I was like, "'Cause I don't want to sit with you." And then he's like, "Yeah, I guess not." But there had to have been a bit of humility in that phone call.
I mean, did he know that you were the other man in this scenario?
Absolutely, he knew.
Nah, it's just one of those small schools. Everybody knows who's dating everybody. Yeah.
That's
Hmm.
that's I give that some thrills. There was a 5 and telling that guy to go fuck off.
And also maybe a 2 on erotic because you got a little chub thinking about it.
I did. I do have a strong sense of vengeance. So
Oh, Garrett. All
high
right.
school me would have ruined my life for Erica Christensen. I don't think adult me would ruin my life for adult Erica Christensen.
I I think I understand being a teenager and like the first person that pays attention to you is like the most amazing thing ever. But she wasn't even the first person to pay attention to you. You had Perfect Girlfriend. So I'm going to say if I had had Perfect Girlfriend in high school, no, I would not have ruined my life for Swimfan. So, no.
Well, that movie sucked, but it was really fun. I
It
really
was fun.
it earned every bit of that 15% that it has, and this is absolutely a movie you and I would have watched together at some point, like, down the road. I'm surprised we hadn't already, to be honest.
I mean, right? Yeah, I'd actually
I
never seen it before, so this was fun.
I don't know where we go from here. We just had Arabella, now this, like, how hardcore do we need to go next week?
Well, I don't know. The Olympics are still going to be on, aren't they? So, like, we could figure
Well
out a different sport.
well, by the time this episode airs and we get to the
Ah.
next one, I think it'll be gone. Um, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. We'll have something. We've got a huge list to pull from.
Mm-hmm.
Hey guys, thanks for listening.
Thank you so much.
eroticthrillerclub@gmail.com if you want to write to us. If you're listening on YouTube, if you're listening on Spotify, leave a comment.
Mm-hmm.
Joke along with us. We'll write back to you. We love you.
Mm-hmm.
We love you.
Mm-hmm.
You're here.
Mm-hmm.
You're part of the club.
You're in a
This is a
club.
group activity.
Yeah, suggest if you have suggestions for more movies that you'd like to see us cover, absolutely let us know. And Garrett,
We love you. Thank you for listening. We want to shake you naked and eat you alive.